لأجاريهم قلدت ظاهر ما فيهم فبدوت الغنى فوجدت أني
I usually wake up really early in the morning, and that's around 4:45 to pray, and then I go back to sleep and then wake up when the sun rises around 6 o'clock. I am such a morning person. I love waking up early. So usually I don't eat breakfast until like 8 o'clock, so like 2 hours after I wake up. But today I was feeling really hungry, so I got up and decided to make some breakfast. If you guys have not tasted sourdough toast, I 100% recommend it. It's such a good bread and it's so good for you as well. My mom makes it usually, but she hasn't made it in a while, so I had to buy some from the shops. But it tastes the same. So I put butter and jam. One thing about me is that whenever I'm eating bread, I have to eat it with butter because it just doesn't taste good at all. Even if I'm having a burger or something, I'd always put butter first and then the meat and the salad and everything. But yeah, I made breakfast and then I just went on YouTube for a little bit. I decided to crochet while eating breakfast and watching YouTube. So I started off by making a granny square. So I made the center of the flower and I wanted it to be the same color as the whole pouch. So I used my green yarn and I just made a magic circle and I did 8 single crochets inside the magic circle. And I feel like I'm getting so much better at crocheting. Usually whenever I did magic circle projects or amigurumi, I would mark my first stitch, but now it's obvious to me which the first stitch is, so I don't even need to use any more stitch markers. So I'm so proud of myself for that. But I feel like if it's a really big project, then maybe I will use stitch markers, but right now I'm comfortable without them. So after I did the 8 single crochets, I made 8 double crochet clusters inside each single crochet that I made, and I love making these clusters. Each cluster represents a petal and I just love seeing the whole flower come together. I did not mention that, yeah, the front of my granny square is going to be a flower. After I made all of the petals, I began turning this into a granny square. And one thing that I love about granny squares is the fact that you could start with a star in the middle or a moon in the middle or a heart in the middle, whatever shape, and then you can just turn it into a square using certain stitches, and that is so fun and really creative. I wonder how someone even came up with this. And to make the square is really simple. All I did was chain 3 first and then 3 double crochets into one of the gaps, and then I chained 3 and did 3 more double crochets, and that was a corner. And then in my next space I just did 3 double crochets, and then in the next space I did 3 double crochets, chain 3 double crochets, and then I did 3 double crochets, and then I just repeated that process all the way around until I had a gap and 4 corners. And after round 1 it was looking like a square already, but I wanted it a little bit bigger, so I did another round. So I followed the pattern of doing a corner, which consists of 3 double crochets, chain 3 double crochets, and then 2 gaps, which just consist of 3 double crochets, and I just repeated that pattern all the way around. Initially I wanted to do my pouch with the flower design on the front and then plain on the back, but I'm going to do 2 of the same granny squares. So after I finished the first one, I went ahead and made the second one, and I was just watching YouTube whilst I was crocheting it. I watched a bit of true crime, and then I don't even remember what else I watched, but yeah, I was just watching things to pass time. After I made the 2 granny squares, it was now time for me to single crochet it together, which is always my favorite part whenever I'm making projects. When you're just putting everything together, then it becomes like the final project. So after I sewed everything together using single crochets, I went ahead and made this ruffly area for my drawstring, so when it closes it looks really pretty on the top. It was such a tedious process. I was getting very confused along the way, but anyways, we crocheted it. After that, I made the drawstring. I made the drawstring using the cream colored yarn. I wanted to do it green, but then I was like, no, that's too much green. So I just chained a couple, as many as I thought would be good for a drawstring, and then just to be a little bit extra, I also crocheted a flower. So what I did was I made a magic circle, and then I chained one, put a double crochet in, chained one, and slip stitch, and that equals one petal. And I did that about 5 times just to have a nice size flower. I would recommend that you glue the flower on, but I put the 2 loose strings in and then tied it. But that works as well, but glue would also make it look a little bit cleaner, I think. After I did all of that, I threaded through the drawstring, and then that was the granny square pouch complete. I absolutely love how it turned out, and I want to make a few more in different colors so I can store my bracelets but color code them. So this green pouch would have green bracelets in it, and let's say I made a pink one, it can have pink bracelets in it, because my bracelet collection is getting so out of hand. It's actually crazy. So I need cute places to store them. After I finished making it, I went to go and show my mom, and she is in love with like every single project that I make, so this was no exception. And then she told me, let's get ready and go and visit your grandparents. I love like visiting family, because like back home in England, none of my family lives there at all. So being in Zimbabwe, I can just visit like as many people as I want every single day. You can literally just show up unannounced and knock on the door, and I love that aspect of it. So we met up with my auntie in town, and then we decided to go to Highland Park. It's this shopping centre in Avondale, and I've been there before. It's so pretty, it's really nice. So I went to go and get donuts, and something weird about Zimbabwe is that it's a Christian country. Like 1% of Zimbabwe is Muslim, but they have a lot of halal certified places. Like this donut shop was halal certified. So if you're Muslim and you want to visit Zimbabwe, I 100% recommend that you come here, because literally all the meat is halal as well, unless it's obviously pork. But yeah, the donut shop was so aesthetically pleasing. It's so pretty, and I got 3 donuts and they tasted so good. I got this chocolate ring donut with like white icing on it, and then the pink one had cream on the inside, and it was so delicious. Like I want to go back there soon and like buy one of every single flavor. After that, I went to go to this gelato place, and I've never tried gelato. I just thought it was ice cream, but apparently the whole recipe is completely different. But to me it tasted like ice cream, so I'm not sure about the specific difference. But usually I love caramel. I love anything caramel and chocolate, but I decided to switch it up because every time I go out and get ice cream it always has caramel and chocolate. So I decided to get millionaire shortbread, which had caramel and chocolate, yeah, but then it had like shortbread pieces, but it doesn't have as much caramel as caramel ice cream would, if that makes sense. But I did not really like it. I don't like ice cream that has like chunks in it, so I don't even know why I ordered it in the first place. But obviously I finished it. It wasn't terrible, but if you like cookies and chocolate and caramel, then it should be perfectly fine. You would probably like it, but I just didn't. So after we went shopping, we went to my auntie's house, and we decided to go and pick some mulberries. She has a mulberry tree in her garden, and I've been to her house plenty of times and I didn't even know that. Like, it's like in Zimbabwe, people have so much land, you don't even realize it, and you don't even realize every single inch of the place. So when I saw the tree, I was like, oh, it was there? I didn't even know, because I walked past that area so many times, but I've never seen berries on there. But anyways, we picked up a few berries because my mom wants to make jam. She loves making things like baking, making jam and marshmallows and everything, which is actually so nice, so I can't wait to taste that. And then when my brothers wanted to make a mulberry and apple crumble, which sounds delicious, so hopefully he can make that soon. After spending about an hour there, we finally got ready to go to my grandparents' house. They're not really my grandparents, they're my mom's auntie and uncle, but they're definitely old enough to be my grandparents. So I just call them Gogo and Sekuru out of respect, obviously. After being on the road for about half an hour, we finally arrived, and everyone was so hungry, including myself, because all we ate that morning were donuts and a couple mulberries, so that's not really filling. So I decided to make some chips for everyone. I honestly hate cooking for a lot of people, but I was like, okay, let me just make it because why not? My mom does not know how to make chips at all. I'm literally the only one in the family that knows how to make good chips. So whenever anyone's craving them, they always come to me like, oh, can you make them? And I'm like, okay, sure. I had to peel so many potatoes, so many, my hand was hurting. And then I had to fry so many chips, I was starting to smell like oil. After I ate and made the chips, I went to go and pray, and I decided to pray in this living room. It's my favorite in the whole house. I love all the lighting and how it comes into the room, and I like the view from the windows as well. You can just see different corners of the farm. It's so pretty. After I prayed, I went to go and talk to my grandparents. We were just talking about life, like uni, school, and I was talking to my grandma about my crocheting, and what she said will probably stick with me for a while. She said to me, don't spoil your talent. You should share it with the world and create a business and start selling these things. And I was like, that is such a nice thing to say. And she said that I was so talented and people would really love the things that I create. It was starting to get dark and the drive home is going to be really long, especially when you enter town. There is so much traffic. So we decided to leave, and the journey home, I was so tired. I was kind of napping in the car in and out, and I was just eating a couple snacks. And then we arrived home when it was completely dark. So to finish off the night, I just took a bath and then I prayed, and then I went on YouTube for a little bit, and then I slept. I slept for so long. This day was so exhausting, but I'm so grateful for everything that I was able to do today.